I came to Canada with my parents as a child, so I've pretty much grown up here. I do have a Pakistani background, and I think I merged in the society pretty early, so it was, kind of fluent for me, and I'm very much Canadian at heart. I think from early time, because I was in an immigrant family, I learned how to navigate systems and help my family in the processes. So my community involvement comes from that spirit, and professionally, I'm from a legal and regulatory background. I am currently training as a public lawyer with someone in the Brampton court, and I've also had a vast accounting career. So from my career, because I've worked in Department of National Defense with CRA and Ontario Securities Commission, and I've also done some RFQ bidding for City of Toronto, I understand how the government works and how it actually affects everyday resident in the decision making, from implementation to the final decision that happens, and how it impacts and what feedback the residents are able to give to the government. As being part of Mississauga, I think there is a lot of diversity. I do think that growing up, South Asian culture has its own bounds, and there's differences in values that have to be communicated. We're living in a diaspora between two worlds, with our family and the outside world from our home. So there's definitely been challenges along that, but my parents helped me get educated and have a good career and give me the freedom to exercise that career. And today, with their support, I'm able to nominate myself in the government, which is a huge step for me. I think while also growing up as a woman, there's definitely there's an element of patriarchy in our culture, and I don't have a sister. If you really want to talk about personal life, there is a lot of anomaly around how girls or women are treated in Canada from Pakistani background at a family level, and even outside the perception of South Asian women in Canada. I do think that most of my values, because I was here early on at a very young age, a lot of my adaptation was, easy for me, because I was able to see the reasoning, the logic behind why the culture is the way it is. I didn't have to go too much into where I come from and, what I need to change to adapt here. So for me, it has, there's definitely, when I have a public facing image, there's questions, there's things there's perceptions that I have to address. But I try to keep it, politically neutral, and I think that staying neutral, it helps you to have a public persona, and instead of like drilling down into what could be a challenge, I like to make use of that challenge in my favor. I think my primary reason for running for a public position was because I have been so much in the public roles, and I've worked with an MP from Vaughan, so it encouraged me to understand the system and the satisfaction that it gives you to be in public service, because I'm able to navigate the systems, and I'm currently after my Juris Doctor LLB from UK, I'm basically more equipped with sections of law to use it in favors of residents, to understand how a policy can be changed to make it more favorable for the residents of any city, or provincially or federally for that matter. So my motivation is to help the people with the knowledge that I have. And I think a lot of the role is also my parents. I've always been a public speaker. I've been involved in the community. Just yesterday, we had a book launching, in one of the community centers. I try to include as many people as possible. We had free breakfast for them. And I think for me, it's all about community service, and being able to, see how, it's also an achievement in itself to see how departments are transitioning over years with technology, with today I was in the audit committee meeting with Mississauga, and they're having their own challenges of governance of the system. Yes, they've expanded as a digital entity, but at the same time the governance of system is very complicated. So for me, understanding those systems, it's definitely a motivation from a public service perspective as well. So from what I've been able to gauge from my communication with the residents this year. They're definitely concerned about the property taxes. They're concerned about crime and safety of the community. And I think also just the general condition of the roads, infrastructure, housing is a big concern. So my key priorities are, finding ways to make property tax better for people, less costlier, because, and I know that a lot of the people in Mississauga compare the time when Hazel McCallion was a mayor. I do want the residents to know, I want to take this opportunity for them to know that in her time there was a vast greenbelt development charge growth that helped fund the property, that helped keep the property taxes low for the residents. At this time that's not possible, but there's always obviously if I do get elected, I will try my best to find a way to somehow find something that mitigates property taxes for Mississauga. The other problem is crime, so just making better reforms, pitching in. Obviously a lot of this happens at the provincial and the federal level, but municipalities have a lot of responsibility in transmitting current information as to what's happening in the city to let the province and the federal government know that this is what we're looking for, and that's what's going to help better enforcement of laws at a city level. The other thing is housing, which obviously Mississauga is having a housing crisis, but also at the same time our housing task force, with the mayor powers that have been given to the mayor of Mississauga in 2023, we've been given a target of 120,000 homes in Mississauga for about, I think, in the next 5 years or so. And with the task force that's already in action right now, I think Mississauga is well underway in bringing those homes to the community. There is a lot of relocation that's happening to the residents to facilitate that, but at the same time I think we will be very close to our target of housing in Mississauga very soon. And I think lastly, I think I want to say the road condition, infrastructure. A lot of the housing in Mississauga grew very fast over the last few years. I think infrastructure wasn't in the plan for a lot of things, but the MTSA program, where the housing is being located close to transit services, is helping. I think it's a great initiative, and I would definitely pitch in more to that, so we can have not just houses and not just condos, but infrastructure, buses, schools, parks, roads, community centers around housing as well. The message that I want to give to the residents is Mississauga's voter turnout is 21%. We need more voter education. If you do not know about municipal elections, find out. We do not have a party. We are not liberal or conservative. We work for people. So, come out and vote. It's very important. Now, to answer your question about what makes me different, I'm all about transparency and asking the hard question. I drill down the question to the point where I get a final answer. I understand that, there's a discomfort around asking difficult questions to the government. I understand there's constraints from my business experience. I understand there's a framework that things need to work under. But at the same time, when we have our discussions, if you take a look at the deputations that I do with the city, I try to be as open as possible. I include whatever I can include, without the fear of getting judged about, okay, she's asking a question about something that nobody talks about. I think that's where the key area is. If a politician, if a person in power is able to tap into that area without fear, obviously being mindful of other people's sentiments around it, but not so much that it jeopardizes the process of taking your input into the government that can actually make reforms, make things work for residents. So my clear communication and my focused, I would say hyper-focused dedication to residents and their concerns, because I also update my residents. When I talk to residents, I take the feedback back to them from a city council or some policy document that was released that gives them update about what they can expect, what's the timeline of solution to their problem. So I'm looking to create a holistic, comprehensive system that people can rely on from a ward councillor. I think for a number of years in Mississauga, or in general in our ward, definitely in our ward, a lot of the people don't know their ward councillor. and I want to have events around this. I want people to be educated that the Municipal Act gives a lot of power to the ward councillor to exercise that in favor of the residents. How that gets translated at the City Council, I have yet to explore. So I'm not going to overpromise, but I definitely think that, reading the sections of law and the Municipality Act, I'm here to help people but I rely on them to step forward and let me know what they need help with.